Awesome. That was amazing, Jill. Thank you. I was taking notes. Um, Real quick, if anyone is on their computer, if you can click on the green microphone, that will mute your computer out. And if you're on your phone, I don't know what the mute is for your phone line. I've never used GoToMeeting before, but every phone has a mute button. So if everyone can make sure that they press their mute button, just so there's no background noise. Thank you. Um, so awesome, Jill. And I love your story. I think it's such great proof that what happens
Thank you.
when you're goal minded versus growth minded. And when I was giving it some thought, I realized if you're not sure where your mindset is at, if it's focused on goals or if it's focused on growth, because it's quite abstract, so that can be difficult. Um, think about how do you feel after a goal deadline passes, because you have to set goals. Like Jill said, goals help us measure our progress. Like they're not optional, they're part of all of this. So when you have your next goal or think of your last goal, maybe think of your last goal that you had set that you didn't reach. How do you feel afterwards? You'll know if you have a goal mindset, if you're always disappointed if you don't hit that goal, like where it's kind of consuming, like Jill talked about, or if you do reach the goal, you're left feeling like, I have no idea what to do next. If you feel lost and kind of pathless, you have a goal mindset right now. If you have a growth mindset, your goal deadlines are just going to continue to pass, and you're just going to keep moving forward. If you hit the goals, which you're going to hit more of them by having a growth mindset, then awesome, you'll celebrate, but you're not going to invest too much in that because you know it's not the end, you're still moving forward. And if you don't hit it or do hit it, you're going to know what your path is that you're still on. So just wanted to share that thought I just had. So the book that we're talking about, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John C. Maxwell, he talks about 8 growth gap traps. And I just want to go over them really quick. I truly believe in the truth because you kind of need that. Sometimes we have to admit things to ourselves to grow and to move forward. And it's a continuous process. So the first gap is the assumption gap. I assume that I will automatically grow. And Jill mentioned something about this, how, you know, if you kind of think, okay, well, if I just hit, the home office challenge each month, or I'm going to work on the next trip, all those things can bring you some great things, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to bring you growth. It never, ever accidentally happens. It only happens when you intentionally work towards that. So don't let your mind get in that trap consistently, or if you do this or that, it's going to just happen, because it never does. The second gap is the knowledge gap. I don't know how to grow. I think we all feel that way. I know often when Jill and Camille and I are talking and collaborating, we're really figuring it out along the way. And that might feel really uncomfortable for a lot of people, but it's just the reality of growing. You just have to do it. You just have to get in there and learn by doing, and um, follow those stories and those paths that have done what you want to do, or at least are heading in the same direction, but maybe you want to take it further. Also, something to think about with the knowledge gap is we need to take advantage of the tools around us, and we all are part of powerful tools, and that is leadership teams, whether that's UBAM leadership or our individual um, executive group leader teams or that leadership team that you're creating under you, those are extremely powerful tools to kind of go in it together. So we want to just take advantage of those and embrace them. The third growth gap is the timing gap. It's not the right time to begin. I think that's a pretty common one, and Jill mentioned that as well. In the book, let's see, American politician Frank Clark said, "What great accomplishments we'd have in the world if everybody had done what they intended to do." You know, life is never going to stop happening, ever. And it's really important for us to, we all have this really amazing tool in our life called UBAM that we have the opportunity to do what we want in life. We really shouldn't take advantage of that. I mean, we shouldn't not take advantage of that. There are so many people in this world, millions of people, who don't have that. And here we have it at our fingertips. We have one life. Like, now's the time. We're at an incredible time with the company. And I mean, this time in the company, this growth time has never existed. And we get to be a part of the foundation of that. We need to take advantage of that for ourselves, for our families, and for what we accomplish as a company. So it's always the right time. The fourth growth gap is the mistake gap. I'm afraid of making mistakes. And here's the truth about that. You're going to make mistakes. You can't grow without them. In fact, mistakes empower us to grow. And I know I have really learned to really embrace mistakes. I don't ever feel bad about a mistake. Like, you know, in October, for example, if anyone was interacting with me at all or tried to, they know I was totally, I mean, beyond consumed in the scheduling that I created for myself with overlapping author visits. And it was pretty much 3 weeks of just, I don't want to say a nightmare because it was a blessing to meet them and to be a part of that. But wow, it was the most insane 3 weeks in business I've ever had, and unpleasant because of how long I was gone. And it really disrupted my family. It really disrupted my business. And although I didn't enjoy every moment of that, I appreciate that experience because it taught me some limits and things that I need to change and different choices I need to make. So I was able to respond and grow from it so that I can be better always moving forward. So just accept the fact, not just accept that you're going to make mistakes as you push yourself to grow. Embrace them and get excited about them because it means growth is around the corner if you're experiencing a mistake. Number 5 is the perfection gap. I have to find the best way before I start. And to put it simply, you have to start and do it in order to find the best way. So it's literally impossible to know what the best route is unless you're actually doing it and figuring it out. And again, we got to go back to not knowing how, the fact that we have these powerful tools of each other to do it together and figure it out together. Nobody is in this alone. Okay, the next one, number 6, is the inspiration gap. I don't feel like doing it. He speaks pretty bluntly about this. And I'm going to actually read a little snippet, which was in, it was in some like journal, I think a health journal or something he put in. It's titled, "Just Do It." We hear it almost every day. I just can't get myself motivated to lose weight, test my blood sugar, etc. And we hear an equal number of sighs from diabetes educators who can't get their patients motivated to do the right things for their diabetes and their health. We have news for you. Motivation is not going to strike you like lightning. And motivation is not something that someone else, a nurse, doctor, family member, whomever, can bestow or force on you. The whole idea of motivation is a trap. Forget motivation. Just do it. Exercise, lose weight, test your blood sugar, or whatever. Do it without motivation. And then guess what? After you start doing the thing, that's when the motivation comes and makes it easy for you to keep on doing it. So I think we need to just change our expectation of motivation. The role of motivation is not to get us started. The desire for something is what gets us. Just deciding, like Jill talked about, what do you want? Making that decision, writing it down, telling people to make it real. And then you just have to do it. Don't wait for motivation. And then the role of motivation is to just help us to keep going, to get past those mistakes, to turn the next corner and just not stop. The seventh gap is the comparison gap. Others are better than I am. I think this is one of the most common gaps, and not necessarily by itself, but with other gaps as well. And it's all about comparing yourself to other Uzzies and other Uzzy stories, and telling yourself that your results should be what their results are, and feeling bad if they're not. And I just want everyone who struggles with this, because again, it is a very, very common thing. Please don't think for a second that you're the only one that feels that way. Just imagine because if you're choosing to react to successes around you in a negative way to yourself, and maybe you wish that you wouldn't see those. I want everyone to imagine that for a moment. Imagine working this business and we never saw successes in front of us. We didn't know what other people's results were. Would that really be better or help us in any way? Absolutely not. We need examples of success to show us, yes, it's possible. Yes, if they can do it, I can do it. If they made that happen, then anybody can make that happen. So I think it's more of a habit and just identifying, okay, I want to see people's results and successes because I want to never stop getting the proof of what's possible with UBAM. And then just work on that internal dialogue of what are you telling yourself? It's all choices. It might be hard. It will be hard to change any sort of a habit of that. Anytime you're talking about an internal dialogue that has gone on for a long time, but you don't want the alternative. Nobody would want to work in that environment. So, and he says, you can only learn if others are ahead of you. It's just the truth. And we definitely should embrace that. The final the final growth gap is expectation. I thought it would be easier than this. And I don't think that's actually a big gap for a lot of people, a lot of you listening, but definitely probably for some. And the fact is, it's not easy. It takes work. But here's the beautiful thing. And Jill and Camille and I were just talking about this. And I know I've shared this with some of my leaders just in conversation this past year. When I think about the year before Jill and Camille and I really started talking a lot and collaborating and really going back, basically, we went back to the growth mindset. I think we've all had it at different times, but we lost it. And it's not very fun to be working in that mindset when you don't have that mindset. And when I think back to, I guess it would be 2013 or 2012 to 2013, I was definitely making a lot less money and reaching way fewer goals. And I think back to the feelings that I had throughout that year, and I was not as happy. I did not enjoy my job as much. And frankly, I probably worked even more. And then I think about 2014, just being focused and working very intentionally with a growth mindset. I made a lot more money, and it was a way more fulfilling year on many levels for my family, but also for my team, and seeing them achieving more and being fulfilled in that way and the impact we were having. And I absolutely worked the same, if not less, except for in October. um, and that's the truth. You don't need to work more. You don't need to put in more hours than probably what you're already doing. But you do have to work hard in being very intentional and being a good boss and working with a purpose. So it's not going to come easy, but it doesn't mean you have to work more unless you're putting in very little time with your business right now. Maybe you're putting in 5 to 10 hours a week, and the results that you would love to have happen is going to require 15 hours a week or maybe 20. I don't know. You have to make those choices on what you have available and what you want. But that's the good news, is it doesn't have to take more, but it does have to take work and not giving up. Camille's going to continue us.